The stars above Varelia Prime burned like shards of glass, their light fractured through the great dome of the Empress's palace. Once, that light had symbolized unity, a fragile peace between humanity and the Varelian Empire. Now, it only illuminated the ruins of pride. Empress Thalia Varelix IX, sovereign of the Thousand Moons, stood before the holographic window of her throne chamber. Her slender, scaled fingers, iridescent and sharp as crystal, clenched the edge of her ceremonial robe. Below, in the distant capital square, she could still see the smoke. Human troops, once hailed as allies, had raised the Varelian archives only hours before. Her reflection flickered, a regal being of emerald skin and burning gold eyes. Once she had trusted a human. Once she had loved one. And now, she was humiliated before her own empire. The chamber doors hissed open. General Kaeldvor, her most loyal commander, strode in and kneeled. His armor still bore the scars of plasma fire. "Your Radiance," he said, voice low and heavy. "The humans have withdrawn their fleets from orbit. Their diplomats are demanding your abdication." Thalia's tail coiled behind her, a habit she'd thought she'd shed years ago, after countless lessons in composure. "Abdication," she murmured. "For what crime? For trusting them. For believing their talk of peace." Kal lowered his gaze. "The human ambassador blames you for the destruction of the joint colony on Acheron 4. He claims you broke the treaty first." The Empress turned, her robe swirling in a shimmer of deep violet silk. "They burned my archives," she hissed. "They desecrated our history and called it justice. The colony fell because of their greed. Because of him." The general hesitated. "You speak of Captain Orion Vale." At that name, the Empress's throat tightened. Even now, his face haunted her. The soft gray eyes, the quiet laughter, the promises whispered in the palace gardens. Orion Vale, the first human ever allowed to walk freely through the Varelian court. The man she had once chosen as her emissary to Earth. And her lover. And the man who had betrayed her. Tooth, the emissary who lied. 5 years earlier, the Varelian and Terran federations had forged a fragile peace. Both sides were exhausted by a decade of border wars, fought over the resource-rich nebulae near the Persian Gate. Orion Vale had been a decorated officer, a soldier who'd seen too many battles, too many graves. He came to Varelia not as a conqueror, but as a diplomat. When Thalia first met him, she saw something rare in humans: restraint. While most Terrans treated her species as curiosities or enemies, Orion treated her as an equal. He studied her culture, her people's songs, their sacred texts. He was clever, disarmingly gentle, and utterly fearless before her. She had grown curious and then enamored. Nights beneath the crystalline gardens had turned into whispers and confessions. She revealed to him the Varelian prophecy of the Burning Gate, a legend foretelling a war that would consume both races unless unity was achieved. Orion had sworn he would protect that unity. He had promised her the galaxy. But on the day the Acheron 4 colony collapsed into chaos, she learned that the Human Federation had been mining its core for antimatter, in secret against treaty law. The explosion killed 1 million settlers, both human and Varelian. The Terrans blamed her for sabotage. And Orion. He had vanished, leaving behind a single coded message. "Forgive me. I did what I had to." When human fleets invaded her borders weeks later, Thalia realized what had to meant. 3. The Shattered Throne. Now, 5 years later, Thalia ruled an empire in mourning. The humans had withdrawn, leaving a trail of broken alliances and occupied worlds. Her council whispered that the Empress had become unstable, ruled by vengeance instead of vision. Some even suggested surrender. But Thalia's fury had crystallized into something sharper. Purpose. She turned to Kel. Summon the engineers. I want the rift core reactivated. The general's head snapped up. The rift core. That device was banned by the Galactic Accord. It manipulates space-time. It could tear the system apart. Her golden eyes glowed brighter. Then let it tear. Let it show the humans what it means to betray a Varelian. He hesitated, then bowed. As you command, my Empress. When he left, Thalia exhaled, trembling. Power, fury, regret. They all churned within her like a storm. Somewhere, deep beneath the rage, a fragment of her old self whispered that this path would doom them all. But she silenced it. No human would ever touch her heart again. No human would ever touch her world again. For the return of Orion Vale. The warning came 3 days later. A human vessel crossing the border, unarmed but unauthorized. Thalia stood in her command chamber as the holographic projection flickered to life. And there he was. Captain Orion Vale, older now. His hair streaked with gray. His uniform stripped of insignia. He looked tired, haunted. Thalia, he said quietly. It's been a long time. The Empress's jaw tightened. You dare use my name, traitor? He swallowed hard. You deserve the truth. About Acheron 4. About everything. Truth, she spat. You destroyed 1,000,000 lives. I tried to save them. His voice cracked. The mining operation wasn't authorized by the Federation. It was a covert project. A faction of our military was trying to build a weapon from antimatter. I went to stop them. But I failed. Thalia's eyes narrowed, her tail flicking in agitation. Lies. Convenient lies from a man who vanished when my people burned. I didn't vanish. I was imprisoned by my own command. I escaped only after the war ended. His image flickered, static washing through the transmission. Listen to me. The same faction that destroyed Acheron is coming back. They want your rift core, Thalia. If you activate it, you'll give them the weapon they always wanted. For a moment, her fury wavered. She remembered the warmth of his hand, the way he had looked at her as though the universe were smaller than her eyes. But that memory was awound now, and she would not let it reopen. You will not deceive me again, she said coldly. You speak of peace, yet your kind only brings ruin. Thalia. Silence. She cut the transmission. General Kael'tich, prepare orbital defenses. If that human ship enters orbit, destroy it. With the rift core deep beneath the palace, the ancient machine hummed to life. The rift core, a relic from before the wars, was the last surviving artifact of Varelia's old god engine technology. It could bend space-time, fold entire worlds into energy. It was power incarnate. Thalia descended into the chamber surrounded by engineers and priests. The walls glowed with sigils older than both their civilizations. As the activation sequence began, the ground trembled. By the authority of Varelia, she intoned, I reclaim what was lost. No human shall ever rule or touch this world again. The rift pulsed, a heart of living light. Her scales shimmered in its radiance. But as the energy built, an alarm blared. A ship had entered orbit. Human. Unarmed. It was him. Ka's voice rang through the comms. Empress. The human vessel is broadcasting on all channels. He's heading straight for the capital. Destroy him. My Empress, the ship isn't fighting. I said destroy him. The cannons fired. Light erupted across the sky. The human vessel broke apart, flaming debris scattering like meteors. For a moment, Thalia felt a grim satisfaction. Justice, perhaps. But then a voice, faint, crackling through the static, reached her ear. "If you can hear me. Sorry, Thalia. I never stopped loving you." Her heart lurched. And then the rift core screamed. 6. The core surged beyond control. Waves of quantum energy tore through the palace. Engineers screamed as the floor split open. Kelta shouted through the comms. "The core is destabilizing. It's drawing power from the atmosphere." Thalia staggered, shielding her eyes. The rift had grown enormous, a swirling vortex of light and shadow. Then she saw something impossible, a silhouette stepping through the rift. Orion Vale, or rather a projection of him torn from time. His face was calm, illuminated by the chaos around him. "You activated it," he said softly. "You shouldn't have." Her breath caught. "You're dead. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just what's left of me." His image flickered. The rift connects everything, even the moments we regret most. She trembled. "You betrayed me." He shook his head. "No. I tried to protect you. The Federation would have wiped out your species if they thought you held this power. I lied to save you, and I failed." Tears welled in her golden eyes. "You speak of saving me, yet look at what remains." He stepped closer, an illusion, but it felt real enough. "You can still end this. Shut down the core, Thalia. Don't let your pain become their weapon." Her claws curled. "Why should I trust you?" "Because," he said softly, "you once did. And because I still love you." For the first time in years, her resolve faltered. She looked at the swirling rift, a mirror of her own fury, devouring everything it touched. She closed her eyes and reached into the control matrix. 7. The system screamed warnings in every tongue. The energy output exceeded planetary tolerance. Shutting it down meant channeling all remaining power through a single conduit, her own neural link. Kelcha's voice came through the intercom, panicked. "Empress! The core's overload will consume the capital. We must evacuate." "No," she whispered. "If we flee, it will spread to the entire sector." She placed her hands on the control spire. The machine recognized her biometrics. Pain seared through her body as the energy surged into her nervous system. Orion's voice echoed faintly. "Thalia, stop. It's too late," she said. "If I must burn to end this, then so be it." Light consumed her vision. Memories flooded back. The gardens, the laughter, the promises. And the betrayal. All of it one endless spiral. As the rift collapsed, the last thing she saw was Orion's fading face, whispering her name. 8. The aftermath. When the light faded, Virelia Prime was silent. The rift core was gone. The palace reduced to crystalline ash. But the planet still stood, scarred but alive. Keltich and the surviving Virelians searched for days, but they found no trace of the Empress. Only fragments of her robe and the faint hum of residual energy beneath the ruins. Across the galaxy, human transmissions went dark. The Federation's secret faction, the one that sought to weaponize the rift, had vanished in the same surge. Some said Thalia's final act had erased them from existence. Others whispered that she had entered the rift itself, a being of pure energy now, haunting the void between stars. 9. Epilogue. The Song of the Empress. 50 years later, human explorers discovered an anomaly near the edge of the Pershan Gate, a luminous sphere pulsing with rhythmic light. Inside it, fragments of Virelian song could be heard, as though carried on solar winds. One recording, faint, almost inaudible, captured a voice. No human will ever touch me again. But still I remember. I remember love and what it cost. The explorers never found the source. Some claimed it was merely residual data. Others believed it was her, the Empress Thalia, trapped between time and memory. Among the Varelian descendants, her name became legend, a warning and a lament. They built monuments not of stone, but of light, shimmering towers that sang with her voice each night. And among humans, her story was buried, rewritten as myth, the tale of an alien queen who defied a god machine and burned away the stars to save her people. But in the quiet between galaxies, the rift still hums. And sometimes when ships pass too close, they swear they hear her hiss, not in anger but in sorrow. Forgive me, Orion. No human will ever touch me again. Yet I will never stop reaching for the light.